going to start with a film that is currently headlining in cinemas. It's the 10th in the seemingly endless Fast and Furious series called Fast X. They have promised that this is the last of 2 films being created, but we'll see. I thought that this title was originally going to be called Fast 10... your seatbelt, which would have been a much funnier title and a much better title, I think. But no, they've come out with Fast X. How dull. So in Fast X, Dom and his extended family are being pursued in an act of revenge by Dante Reyes, who holds Dom responsible for his father's death, which was actually an action scene in Fast 5 many, many years ago. Now, 10 years later, the sociopath Dante wants to exact pain on Dom by progressively bumping off each member of his family, with particular attention being paid to his son, Brian. Here's a clip.
You remember my father? Hernan Reyes. My father was a horrible man. Very bad daddy. But I kind of liked him, and you took him from me when you stole our money and left us with nothing but suffering. That's what I came here for. To end that suffering.
Right, Scott, what did you make of Fast 10?
So I had a blast with this one. Straight off the bat, I've got to say, throughout this franchise, I've been a fan. I think in the early films were a little bit more grounded. Until we got to Fast 5 and onwards, it's basically been just full-on action blockbuster cartoon, pretty much. And for me, the last couple have been off the boil a wee bit. They've went maybe a bit too much in the fan service side, and I think this one goes back to just being pure entertainment. As expected, action scenes galore. You've got the chases, the fights, there's explosions everywhere. The cast, they know exactly the type of movie they're in. Their tongues are all firmly in their cheeks, and they're having just the most amount of fun. Particularly Jason Momoa, who is exuding such Joker energy, and he's just having the most fun being a villain, but really camp as well. But when you're Jason Momoa, you can do what you want.
It's just a flamboyance that I really, really liked. There's a bizarre scene where he's painting the nails of dead people sat in deck chairs. No idea where that was supposed to fit in. There are so many random scenes in this, aren't there?
But that's the thing. I think they're just having fun, and I think in them having fun, we're having fun as well. Try not to take it seriously at all. Don't look for any logic. If you try and pick things apart or any sort of continuity errors, you're just not going to have a good time. You're not going to enjoy that. So what I'd say is just, I don't like the phrase switch your mind off, but it's that kind of film where you just have to enjoy it for what it is. And I'd also say that anyone that gets to the end of the film, you should stick around a little bit because there is a mid-credit scene as well. And you mentioned 2, Bob, but I've heard recently that actually there are going to be 3 films in this last part instead of 2.
Save me.
Just extend it even longer. I know.
Emma, what did you make of that? Do you agree with Scott?
I did really enjoy myself as well at it. I have to say, you can't take it seriously. I mean, they went to space in the last one in a car. So I was hoping for something even more bizarre than that to happen in this. I was hoping maybe Mecha Godzilla car, but no, just regular cars. But honestly, I got to the end of the film, I was like, wait, that's the end of this film? I was so caught up in it because it was just having ridiculous fun that I didn't even realise I'd spent that long in the cinema. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. The only thing, and I know, I love Jason Momoa and he definitely had fun doing this role, and this is probably just me because I spoke to other people after coming out and they don't agree with me. But I found it really difficult to deal with his personality change and the way they sort of blamed it on that accident in Fast 5. And I was just like, the connotations of that and the way he now was, I don't know. It just set me off the wrong way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I might be the odd one out here, although we haven't heard your view yet, Bob. I went in expecting outrageous stunts, expecting outrageous action, expecting fights and chases, and we got all that, and that was fine. But it didn't deliver for me anything new in the genre. It didn't bring anything that I didn't feel I'd seen before. So I was kind of a bit meh about this, you know. And you talk about Jason Momoa. He delivered every line as if it was being filmed for the trailer. You know, you just thought he's filming the trailer with every single line that he utters. So I was a little bit meh about it. I was a little bit... I didn't enjoy it as much as I probably could have or should have, because I knew what to expect. They didn't spring any new surprises on me in this one. Going to space in the last one, you kind of thought, yeah, hang on a second, wow. You know, there was no real wow moment in the sense of this is a stunt, this is something new, this is something exciting that I haven't seen before. Got what I expected, but I would have liked at least something that I didn't expect to happen. So, yeah, not quite on the same level as you guys.
You all know my feelings about unrealistic action in films. And this was overblown nonsense from beginning to end. I mean, there was hardly a plot to be had here. Just a set of ludicrous action pieces strung together by a nonsensical plot points. I mean, what had Dante been doing for the 10 years between his father dying and now?
Yeah,
right?
That didn't really seem like the sort of person that would wait 10 years to do.
Was he in prison or something? There was no explanation for that at all. And then Dom must have been killed like 3 or 4 times, reversing out of a flying plane at one point, dragging 2 crashed helicopters behind his car and using them like some sort of, what those things are, gauchos wave around it. Right, crashing into a crane so the concrete block knocks this ludicrous bomb. I mean, the whole thing was just like turned to 12, which, to be honest, Fast 9 turned it to 13 with the space thing. Like, not even Elon Musk sends a sports car into space. Oh, hang on a minute. Yes, he does. So it was ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. But I did find myself enjoying this one, I have to say. Right, against all the odds, I did actually have a good time with this one in the cinema. As you say, the cast is just crazy. Like, there are so many names in this franchise now that every so often a new one, like Daniela Melchior, who we've talked about from Marlowe as being terrible in that, but great in the Suicide Squad, right? She crops up again. She's a name that keeps on cropping up. She plays the sister in Brazil. And you got Brie Larson coming in, who I thought was really good and quite refreshing in this. I quite liked her being in this. So it was great. On the downside, the sound design I thought was awful, right? The mix of the dialogue and the music and the sound effects meant that a lot of the dialogue I really didn't pick up. I mean, Van Diesel talks like this. He sounds like Jason Statham there, right? But Van Diesel talks like down here. He's hard enough to believe. He might as well have been saying, I am Groot for most of this film. The amount that you could actually pick up what he was actually saying. And given that they spent $340 million making this film, the special effects I thought were really dodgy. Like, there's a scene in Rome
it all
with
goes on that acting.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's all I think of is after that enormous cast had been paid, right? There was no money left for special effects, because there's a scene in here with this bomb rolling through Rome, which is on fire. And the fire effects, in fact, throughout the film, I thought the pyro effects were really, really dodgy and bad. So, yeah, I thought it was really ludicrous, overlong as well at 2 hours, 20 minutes, but then that's par for the course for these films. But it's certainly worth seeing on the big screen. I think this won't come across as well on the small screen. So, people, get out to your cinemas and go support your local cinema. But I went and gave this one a 7 out of 10 because I did actually enjoy myself. I think it's a proper summer popcorn blockbuster. Scott, what did you give this?
I gave this one a 9.
9. Andy?
A 6 from me. Sorry, but 6.
6. Emma?
We're all different. I gave it an 8.
Oh, okay. So that makes a Flickering Dreams score of 7.5 for Fast X, making it a popcorn munching...